Hello and welcome back to the Palm Beach North podcast brought to you by Jupiter Medical Center. My name is Noel Martinez, President and CEO of the Palm Beach North Chamber. And today we have a very, very, very special guest joining us. She is an absolute trailblazer in higher education, the first female president in the history of Palm Beach State College. She was recently appointed as chair of the board for the American Association of Community Colleges. She's won a million different awards, everything from the Leadership Florida Distinguished Member Award to the Palm Beach North Chamber last year gave her the Ed Tancer Community Leader of the Year Award. I am absolutely thrilled to welcome Ava Parker to the show. Ava, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to spend some time with you today.
Well, it's great. You know, we were just talking about it. Today's Halloween. So
Yes.
Today, we did not wear our costumes, right?
Yeah.
We did not wear our costumes, even though we might have been in costumes earlier today, but for the podcast, we're not in costumes. So first female president, Palm Beach State College. You've won a lot of awards. You're a big community advocate, serving a lot of boards on the private and public sector, an extremely impressive resume. I know our listeners want to get to know a little bit more about the person behind those titles and those big awards. So is it okay if we talk a little bit about you?
Sure. I just accept I'm a little bit boring, but we can do it.
So let's start with an easy one. So talk to us. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in the panhandle of Florida, in a little city called Milton, which is in Santa Rosa County. It is still a one high school town. And my mom was a guidance counselor there at the school that I attended. And my dad worked at a local plant that was there. I'm not sure if Monsanto was still there, but worked at Monsanto in Pensacola.
And what were your parents like?
My parents were great, and they were real community advocates. My mom was real popular because at the time that she was in at our high school, because when she first started there, it was before integration. And so when we transitioned into to Milton High School, because at first she was at T.R. Jackson, which was all black, and then when we transitioned to the integrated high school, she was a math and chemistry teacher, but really became like the source of hope for so many of the kids there, because at least she was a teacher where most of the teachers were not women of color. And so, in fact, it eventually led her to go back to school and become a high school guidance counselor because she really was serving in that role for so long. And eventually even named a park after her in our town.
Oh, wow.
My dad was a big community advocate. He's the guy that was always taking people to vote. He worked at the polls, but just really engaged in the community.
Wow. And now I know where you get it from. That's awesome. So where did you end up going to college?
So I went to University of Florida.
Okay.
And actually I went to college on a journalism scholarship because at my high school, I was a yearbook editor. And I always thought that I would be doing something in journalism more than anything else. But when I was at the University of Florida, I was also engaged or involved in student government. And one of my professors said, you like to be in front of the camera more than like behind the camera, or like to be a part of the story versus writing the story. So I'm not sure you've chosen the right field. It wasn't very nice, but probably somewhat true. So after that, I then went to law school at UF as well.
You went to law school in UF, all right. And then how did you end up here in Palm Beach County?
I have always lived in Florida. So I'm one of the unique people that actually grew up here. Now I've lived all across the state, but I've always lived in Florida because I went to law school and undergrad in Gainesville. And then I, worked in Jacksonville, worked in Tallahassee, was a public defender in Miami-Dade. So I felt like I've done this tour of the state, but I never lived in Palm Beach County. And I was at Florida Polytechnic University, and I was there to kind of help start and build the institution. And I had the opportunity to testify before the Board of Governors at a time when Wendy Link was a member of the Board of Governors. And it was Wendy who actually suggested that I apply for the position as president here. So it's very just kind of by chance, because I'd seen the job, which was amazing, but I told the friend who showed it to me, I don't have the right politics to ever get that job, so I'm not even going to apply for the job, because I was looking for presidencies at the time. And just turns out that she recommended me for the job, and I was blessed with the opportunity.
we're really lucky to have you here. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the college and your role at the college, but I want to kind of talk a little bit more about your family. So tell us, you're married?
I am married to Joe Gibbons.
Joe Gibbons, who doesn't know Joe Gibbons, right? He's got a huge personality, absolutely amazing. Well, first of all, tell us about Joe. What is Joe like for the people that don't know Joe?
So if you don't know Joe, I'm surprised. And if you do know him, you know why I said that. He is a great guy. I met him when he served in the Florida House. He represented a district in Broward County. And actually a mutual friend of ours, Yolanda Cash Jackson, introduced us at an event. And we pretty much hit it off on, like very quickly. And it's so funny because when we first met, I really was at a point where I wanted to have kids, right? Because I didn't have any kids then. And so I'm telling Joe, like, on date number 2, hey, listen, I'm really interested in having kids. So if you don't think that's something you want to do, you should tell me that now. Which is pretty straightforward. Not something I recommend most of the time, but since I was all about kind of like, let's just make sure that we're at least on the same page. And what's so funny is that he said, sure, no problem, right? Like all the time thinking this will never happen. So it's really okay for me to say that. So it's now 15 years later and we have 14-year-old twins. And so there you go.
Twins. Yep. So that's right. You do have twins. You have a boy and a girl twins. They're super athletic.
They are.
Right. They're very active kids. So tell us about them.
So what's interesting is that first I'll start with their names. My son I named after my family name. So my son's name is Parker. And people ask me all the time, is it Parker Parker? No, he's Parker Gibbons. And I named my daughter Bailey. And Bailey is named after my aunt and uncle who grew up across the street from us and they never had kids. And their family name was Bailey. So I named my daughter after them. So Bailey and Parker. So both their names have a lot of meaning. They're great. I mean, we go to our local public school, which happens I live in Wellington. And we actually chose Wellington because when I moved to this community, folks, and I needed a place that was kind of central to like all of the campuses, but also wanted a place that'd be great for families. And lots of folks recommended Wellington, and that has worked out great for us. So they go to Polo Park Middle School.
Great school.
Yeah, it's a great school. And they're really good kids. They are engaging and I think very well adjusted as best as you can be. It's really hard to be a mother of 14-year-olds. Yeah. So that part's hard. Just really proud to be their parents and proud to have the opportunity to raise kids, even though it's really tough.
Yeah. So what does a typical day look like for Ava Parker?
So I start early. Most of the time because I don't really sleep that much. And so for me, I'm going to get up early. I'm going to do some type of devotion or meditation. 5 times a week, I'm going to exercise. I have this whole thing worked out for me now so that I exercise with someone from YouTube. And so I can like have her on YouTube, like on my Surface Pro, and then I can be watching something else that's actually on the television. I got this whole thing figured out. And then from there, I just kind of need that to kind of get it going in the mornings. And then from there, it's regular, like everybody else's day. I'm just getting dressed and it's kind of a busy house because Joe works from home, but then he kind of really helps to get the kids out, helps to get me out. And most days I start at the Lake Worth campus, but sometimes it varies. I could be at any of the other 4 campuses. It kind of depends. I have seasons where it's like everything's external, like the whole day I'm out, meeting with people. And then some days I'm in the office all day and just kind of sitting at a desk, but it is, the best job. The best job. If you got to work it's a job where, I work at a mission-driven company where you get to impact the lives of people every day. And I just couldn't have asked for a better opportunity.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel the same way about what I get to do, right? I absolutely, as you know, I love what I do for a living. So you have been an absolute game changer at Palm Beach State College, right? Under your leadership, the school has achieved the highest enrollment it's ever had, right? Currently, you have over 36,000 students that are enrolled there. The college has $1 billion annual impact, 4th largest public me get that right, public college here in the state, which is a really, really big deal. I'd love to get some of your thoughts on leadership, right? I want to talk about the future of higher ed as well, and really how Palm Beach State College is making an impact in the college. So let's start with leadership. What's your leadership philosophy?
Leadership is such an interesting thing. I think if you're going to be a great leader, you really have to be authentic, probably almost more than anything else, because I think so often we tend to find people who we see as great leaders and we try to be like them. And I think that that's just a step in the wrong direction. I think you have to determine your leadership style and what your strengths are and also what your weaknesses are. So I think you have to be authentic. I think you have to be very honest with yourself. And those are things I really try to, hold on to. But I also feel like if I had to pick one word, like what is it that describes your leadership style? I like to think I'm really collaborative. That is that I'm not, I want to really hear from a lot of people as as we make tough decisions, but I also want people to know that I have the courage to make the decision that I think that is best for the organization. I tell people all the time, you're hired for jobs because of your experience and your point of view. For me, I definitely want to hear from people who think differently from me. I want to be able to take all that in and then ultimately say, but this is a direction that we're going to take and have the courage to stand by it, whether it works or not. And what I mean by that is that if it's not working, have the courage to say, didn't get that one right this time, so let's go in a different direction. But I'm really big on owning it.
Is there a specific decision or something that you did that you've had to make in your role that was extremely challenging? And tell me about how you approached it.
Sure. I can tell you that when I first started the job, we had to make decisions about what is it that we were going to do at the Loxahatchee Groves campus, because Dr. Gallen had done great work as well as the board and, convincing the legislature that we needed to plant an institution there. They had vision and foresight of understanding that's the direction the county was going to eventually grow in, just because we're running out of spaces everywhere. And so I felt this tremendous responsibility based upon the hard work that they had done to then, decide what is it that we're going to do at this institution, and how is it that we were going to get the people of the further western communities comfortable with the idea that we're not here to close down our Belle Glade campus. We're here to add to the great work that's already being done. So it was, how do I get the folks in the western community comfortable? How do I get the people in Loxahatchee Groves who are just really kind of prefer to go everywhere by horse, that, this is a great thing for their future and for their growth? And then how do you decide, what are we going to do there? So that was one of the tough decisions. And everybody had ideas about, this is what I think that we should do. Some of it was political because you had to make good choices based on what was important to the legislature in order to get money for the building. And so for me, it was about, let's talk to everyone. Let's understand everyone's position. Let's understand kind of where we are as far as kind of the building's already kind of on its way. Sort of. We just got to raise some more money. And then let's just say, this is where I think we're going as an institution. And so, boom, we're going to do this. And so that was one of those decisions where I felt like I listened to everybody. But then at the end of the day, I had to be the one to say, but this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to call it. This is the kind of campus that it's going to be. Maybe you can't see it now, but it's the vision that we're going to have into the future for the institution.
What about the most rewarding thing about being the president of Palm Beach State College? What is that?
Hands down, graduation. It's not even a question.
Why? What is it?
Because it's the graduation for, if you ask any of my 27 colleagues in the college system or the 12 presidents at universities in the state of Florida, the best day is graduation. I mean, because this is, you get the opportunity to see, these students who have, put in their blood, sweat, and tears to achieve this goal. and just to feel the energy on that day, to feel the energy from their parents, to know that you're giving folks a foundation that's going to likely change the trajectory of their lives. Best decision. I mean, best day, best day of the job, and I get to do it twice a year. So we do it in May for the spring. We can do it in December for the fall. You're tired because I would have, like shaken the hands of thousands of people, and I would have had to smile for every picture, but it's worth every second.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's talk about higher ed as a whole, right? What are some of the biggest challenges facing higher ed today, and what is Palm Beach State College doing to address those?
Probably the biggest issue facing higher ed today is that students, and more so students, I would say more so than their families, they are questioning what is the value of going to college. And a better way to say it, what is the value of a post-high school credential? So they can all pretty much agree that we all need to go to high school, because we want to make sure we learn how to type, want to make sure we understand things about the internet and how to use these this different equipment that you can learn from a computer or learn through a computer, and keeping in mind that students now are all digital natives. I mean, they started, and definitely in kindergarten using some type of technology. So the biggest dilemma facing higher education, and I define that as anything past high school, is that students or people feel they can learn anything they want to learn from the internet. And so therefore, what's the value? Like, why should I go into debt? Well, first you come to Palm Beach State College and fix it, but you don't have to go into debt.
There you go, sell it.
But then also it's, why should I put the time into this? Are my rewards going to be great enough for this to be worth it to me? And when you have like successful people like Elon Musk saying, "Oh, forget college," forget the fact that he went to Ivy Leagues, but don't go to college. You can learn everything from the internet. There are people who actually listen to that. So I think, it's like we go, things like higher, like education, they go through different cycles. Like at one point, it was like everybody said, you should go to college, you should get a bachelor's, go to college, you should get a bachelor's, and let's focus on that. Now there's more of a focus on you should at least get some post-high school credential, and it can be a certificate, it can be a trade, it can be just something that's going to increase your earning capacity. But then there's also this whole messaging now of why do anything when you can make $18 an hour, working at a fast food or working, at some other job already that doesn't require training.
What about the future of education? Like, what's it going to look like in 10, 15, 20 years? Because I'm sure it's changed drastically since you first got into it.
I would say that this is a phase that we are going through, and I feel like it's going to change. And so I think that the relevance of education is going to increase as people understand that not everyone can be a successful entrepreneur with no training. As people learn that, man, I did get this job, but I can't get a promotion because they're promoting people that have skills different from me. Or as people, kind of realize that, those people who are able to make it without the additional training are very unique. They're almost like unicorns. Mm. I think that, and there are some very special people who've been able to do that. But I think that the future is going to be that the pendulum is going to switch and people are going to recognize that all levels of education are important, but that you really should probably, that there's going to be a commitment to at least going something past high school, because I think it's going to impact earning potential for so many people. And I think that people are going to see that just not everybody has the skill, the guts, the ability to be this entrepreneur and make it work, because it takes, certain nerves to do that.
Oh yeah, totally. So let's shift gears a little bit and discuss another vital aspect of the college, right? And that's community engagement. All these things don't happen by themselves, and collaboration is huge. And I feel, and I know I'm a little biased, but I feel that our county does a really good job of collaborating and working together. So let's talk about that a little bit, right? You serve on a national board. So you've seen what it's like in other communities. How does Palm Beach State College work with local businesses and other organizations to get engaged in the community?
I think that you are right in that what we have in Palm Beach County is very unique, in that there really is this spirit of let's work together. I mean, it really is. And sometimes, competition is natural. I mean, there's a division within the school district that also trains adults, so therefore there is a natural competition there. But for the most part, my biggest partner is Mike Burke in the school district, so I think the idea that is some areas of competition is natural, but for the most part, there's this spirit of, let's all work together and see what it is that we can do to make our county better, because we understand that with our size, that no one entity can do it alone, and that this whole idea of all ships rising together really is the mentality I think that rules the day. And I feel that, businesses are very open to the idea of how is it that they can support the college, but also how is it that we can partner and the college can support them. I feel that as the public college in this community, I have a couple different responsibilities. One, I'm really trying to make sure that within 20 minutes of everybody's house, there's a place for you to go to college. And two, I have a responsibility to businesses to produce people that you want to hire.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're part of the economic infrastructure. And that takes partnership, that takes strategy, that takes working together.
What about, we've mentioned it a few different times. You're the chair of the board of the American Association of Community Colleges, right? They advocate on behalf of 1,000 two-year institutions. And I'm looking at my notes so I don't screw these stats up. You represent 12 million students. So what are you seeing out there in other communities that we're not doing here in Palm Beach County?
I think that I'm a little bit envious of my dear friend to the south of me who just announced on yesterday that she was able to work with her county to get like a $3 million $3 million to support students who need an opportunity to go to college and they just need like extra resources. So Miami-Dade just partnered with Dade County, and they agreed to help a sector of students who qualify and develop sort of a promise program that is a promise for education. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting because I had the opportunity to talk to my dear friend, Virginia Baker, this morning, who leads our county, to talk about how is it that we can work together to do something so that the college is working hand in hand with the county to help meet some of the needs of the county itself as far as to the administration hires, but also the businesses that we serve. And we sat down and we looked at some of the programs that we offered, and we talked about how is it that, or how the county can support us with internships and with letting the community know and be further aware of the types of programming that we have. What I'd say to you is one of the hardest parts of my job is kind of being engaged in so many different things. And I think that it's also an issue for community colleges across the country in that, yes, we offer bachelor's degrees. Yes, we offer associate's degrees, and we want folks to transfer to universities or transfer to our bachelor's program. And yes, we offer AS programs, which are usually 2-year programs if you think about nursing, and we have an engineering program like that. But then we also do trades, so we also do welding. We also do heavy machinery, and we do auto repair. And so how is it that you can get across to those different audiences that we're your source for those different things is a hard part of my job, because I want you to know that we're focused on workforce, but I also want you to have an honors college where, if you finish with us, you can automatically go to FAU's honors college. So that kind of messaging is sometimes different for a company like ours, where we're trying to market to so many different individuals, but it's imperative because that's my responsibility as a public college. But when you ask me, what do I see at other institutions? That's one thing that's here in Florida, but across the country, we all have very similar issues. And so I think as an association, how is it, it's our job to get ahead of those issues so we can provide resources and answers for our colleges across the country.
So you touched about, you provide so much for the business community. What can we do? What can the business community do to support the college?
You can lean in. You can really be forthright with the kind of people that you need to hire because I'm willing to develop programs to support your needs. You can be also forthright if I'm sending you folks that aren't able to do the job because I want to make sure whether you're going to transfer to FAU or whether you are FIU or whether you're going to go right into Pratt Whitney and start working or to, one of our local hospitals. I want to know that you are receiving people who are ready to go to work when they come through your front doors. And if for some reason they're not, that you're honest enough with me to say, hey, this isn't working. Can we make some changes? Because I'm open to doing that.
So, all right, maybe they're doing some cool stuff down south, right? But I think we've got some really cool things going on in Palm Beach County as well. And one of them is the partnership with Palm Beach State College and TMRW Sports.
Yes.
And unless you've been living under a rock, the TGL, which stands for Tech Golf League, is a new golf league that is going to launch in January 2024, right around the corner. And this league was created by Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, and a sports executive called Mike McCarley. This league is going to be on national TV every Monday night, and it's going to be filmed in an unbelievable cool stadium on the Palm Beach Gardens campus. So can you talk a little bit about that partnership and how exciting that is?
So I do think you're right. I mean, so I think that we may be the envy of like everybody.
We have to be right now, right?
On this one, it's like particularly when I tell people, oh yeah, Tiger said so and so and so, then it's like, oh, Tiger Woods like that. Sure. It is an amazing opportunity on so many different levels. One, I think it's great for our community, and that is an extension of golf that is really changing the conversation about golf. Just think about it. When you go to golf tournaments now, if you want to see a player, you really have to follow that player, and you don't have an opportunity to see multiple players do things. But in this opportunity, you're going to have, teams of 3 professional golfers, and you'll have a seat, and you'll be able to see everyone play and really get the sense of their strengths and actually, take a few notes to improve your own game. I think that for me, and why this is such an amazing deal, is that when you think about the fact that the technology that they had to actually deploy to make this work, it just expands the opportunities for us to offer different programming that would not normally be available to us. I mean, the degrees that we can offer, just the opportunities for our students to be upfront on some of these amazing things and that they're doing is so different that but for this relationship, we would not have these kind of conversations. I wouldn't be able to offer the analytics and the different computer and technology program that's going to be available to us. And then also expand to things like broadcasting and things that we were not able to do previously because I didn't have a broadcast studio on campus. Mm-hmm. So it is something that I think is going to change the game. And how about every Monday night when they're broadcasting to the world, they're saying, and at the college of, at Palm Beach State College, TGL Live at Palm Beach State College is something that's going to actually expand the brand in ways that we can't even quite imagine to date. So I can't think of a better way to use property that I was hoping to put a soccer field on, but it just hadn't come to fruition. But to be able to do this and to have something that seats about 1,300 people and something that the college can use and take advantage of, in addition to all these other things, is pretty amazing.
How does that happen? Like, does Tiger Woods pick up the phone and be like, hey, Ava, this is Tiger Woods. We want to start a new golf league in your backyard. That field back there, that old baseball field. I think we could do something with that.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier that I'm a lawyer by training, right? So all good things start with good lawyers. You have a great lawyer like Philippe Jack who sends you an email and says, I have something I think you should take a look at. Having just the foresight to say, he's a good guy. I bet this is going to be a great opportunity. And to really take a look at the white paper and say, oh man, this can be a game changer for us. It really was fortuitous.
So Philippe gets a little shout out on the Palm Beach North podcast.
Exactly,
I can't wait for him to see this.
Exactly. Because he's the guy that sent the first email to me. He's like, I'm representing some clients, and I think you may be interested in this. And what's just amazing about it is that it started a conversation that I think will forever change the trajectory of the institution.
It's so cool. I mean, It's something I brag to all my friends about, my friends from outside, my Leadership Florida friends. I was like, guys, guess what's happening in our backyard?
Right down the street.
It's so good. So let's kind of wrap things up a little bit. So is there anything that you really want the public to know about Palm Beach State College?
Yes, I think Palm Beach State is really we're still your hometown community college. I think if there's anything I want folks to know is that we are blessed in that we also offer 4-year degrees, and when that happened, the name was changed to Palm Beach State, but still think of us as your public community college that's there to help you realize your dreams. I think that, when I see students across campus, I feel like this huge responsibility to make sure that they get to leave here with what they came for. And to me, you came here because you wanted to realize a dream that you have for yourself, for your career, or just academically. And I feel this huge responsibility to make sure you get that. But then also, again, I want to say to employers that we're here to partner with you and to provide you with the infrastructure that you need for the success of your company and of your business. And that I work with great people, great faculty, great staff who are committed to the work that we do.
100%. Top to bottom, you've got an amazing team at Palm Beach State College. I am so fortunate. I get to work with so many of them. They're just absolutely amazing. So kudos to you. They're absolutely awesome. So here's a deep question.
Sure.
What do you want your legacy to be? You looked scared when I asked that. You're like, sure.
Everything else has been pretty easy until now. What I want my legacy to be. This is the kind of thing you start to think about as you get older in your career. I would like for my legacy to be that Ava Parker was a leader who cared. And it's not just that I cared about my students, but I cared about my faculty and I cared about my staff. I also would like for my legacy to be that, when students, make a choice to come to Palm Beach State, because we're an open access institution, I always want them to feel like that they received the very best academic engagement they could possibly receive, that whether it chose to go to an Ivy League, to UF, to FIU, FAU, I never want them to feel that because they chose to stay home, because they chose to make the best economic decision and find the best faculty in the country who would care about them more than anybody else, that they get that sense when they walk onto our campus. So I we're going through some renovations right now because I also feel like so much of, what you see and what you feel is about how you look. And so I want to make sure that folks get that sense that we are an evolving high-tech institution that is innovative and paying attention to what's going on, because I need for you to have the skills to not just be successful in your first job, but the foundation for you to be successful in whatever you want to do for the rest of your life.
What's next for you? Is this it? Are you going to ride the wave at Palm Beach State College, or what's next for Ava Parker?
So it's so interesting because when I interviewed for the job 8 years ago, there was this whole question about, well, how long are you going to be here? Because I had the pleasure of following Dr. Gallen, who'd been here for 18 years. Yeah. And so I said, well, I'm not going to be here for 18 years, which is kind of a crazy thing to say in an interview. And I thought at the time that I took the job that I would be in the job for 7 to 10 years because I wanted an opportunity to at least do, one more job is what I thought for my career. But I don't really look at it like that. I really look at it as there are things that I want to accomplish at Palm Beach State College. And I'm here until those things are accomplished. And I don't know how long that's going to take me. It's a great thing that I love my job. I love the opportunity that I get to, work with an amazing board of trustees, as well as amazing foundation board and a leadership team that's great and committed, and faculty and staff and students who I feel are like, sponges who are really, really sucking up all the great opportunities that we have. But it has to be for me that I can look back and say, you know what, I accomplished this, I accomplished this, I accomplished that. And then maybe it's time to go. Because nor do I want to overstay my welcome. I want it to be that there's a certain hunger to always accomplish what's best for the institution and what's best for our students.
That's awesome, Ava. Well, Ava, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. This was awesome. This was really good. I learned a lot about you. I thought I knew you, but now I know you even more. You do. Your insights have been absolutely invaluable. And I really appreciate all you do for us at the Chamber, for our region, for our county, for our state. You are just such an amazing leader, and we really appreciate everything that you do. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to spend some time with you. I don't know if you learned that much about me. Again, I'm telling you, I'm not that interesting, but I'm committed. I'm passionate. Again, when you work for a mission-driven organization, I think about this place all the time because its success is so important. And so people say, well, gosh, there she is in another green outfit. There she is with green nails. Because when you see me, I want you to see Palm Beach State. And I want you to see my commitment to it. And I want you to think if you cut me, my blood is green too.
Yes.
Because, we're the Panthers. And this is
Are you going to do the Panther thing?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're the Panthers. And, when I see you and know that you're a Panther, then this is how we greet each other. Because I'm proud. I'm proud to be the leader of an institution that's making such a difference in the lives of so many people.
Well, you really are. Thanks again. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to thank our listeners. You guys have been absolutely awesome. A huge thank you to you. A big thank you to Jupiter Medical Center for, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do this. So really appreciate our friends at Jupiter Medical Center for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you all. And please make sure to like, share, tell your friends about the podcast, spread the word. Thank you so much.